Welcome to the Leadership That Inspires podcast. We are so excited to have you back here today, and I've got a great guest for you. I even consider him as a good friend, Ron Story Jr. from SpeakerHub. Ron, welcome to the show.
Hey, Nancy, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I have sweaty palms, Ron, sweaty palms. I'm that excited. But let's jump in because I know you, but I want our community to know you. So, can you share with us, a little bit more about yourself and what you do and so forth?
No, it's exciting. Yeah, I'm Ron Story. I'm the founder of SpeakerHub, and I help entrepreneurs who share their knowledge to get more clients by getting booked on podcast interviews, paid speaking gigs, and press coverage so that they can grow their business without having to dance on TikTok.
Well, I like the dance, but I'm not a TikToker even. So I'm with you there. And I'm just curious, what got you into the speaking industry? And I mean, what's kept you there?
Well, I'm an entrepreneur and I used to be a financial advisor. And most financial advisors, we sell our knowledge and what we know. And I wasn't really big on trying to build complicated funnels and things of that. But if I could get in front of a room of people, if I could, you put me in front of 10 people, I could walk out with 5 clients. And I just realized I wasn't the only person that was able to do that and kind of struggling with all the other complicated things.
Really a talent. And for everybody listening, I want you to just really lean into all his words of wisdom today because that sales piece is tricky. And I know that there's been so many changes the last several years in business. How has your team kind of weathered those storms and those changes?
Well, I think the business kind of follows the heart and the passion of the leader.
Mhm.
So if you're nervous all the time, your team is probably always on edge. So I've just learned myself to keep a calm, steady hand so that I'm not triggering impulsive reactions within my team and trying to be the best leader that I could be by leading by example.
Well, and you do that so well. But I know for you, you've got a big heart. You're literally a walking heart. But it's hard sometimes when you're the leader of a team not to just feel like they're your friends. And I know you shared with me prior to the recording that sometimes that's a balance that's hard for you to manage. And how's that going? Kind of what is your approach for finding a way to have those boundaries or balance?
Well, I think it's always, a thin line between friend and boss, especially if you're spending tens of hours a week with a particular group of people and they're working on something that you care about more than what they care about because they're in your, as the owner of the company, you don't expect your employees to have as much passion about it as you do.
Mhm.
So you're trying to always make that energy transfer, which makes it a very personal relationship because of the nature of the work. So um, I just try to get better at it. And I know that if I'm 100% candid and honest with them about, the projects that we're working on, whether it's good news or bad news, usually that makes it a lot easier to give candid feedback without destroying the personal relationship if it needs to be, um, you know, something that's a bit more professional where they need to get better in some way. Sometimes it's kind of hard to hold your friends accountable.
Well, and you got this really grounding tone and spirit to you. Like I can see how they feel comfortable coming to you. But I know every leader needs that, that lighthouse in the storm for themselves. And I know you have several that you turn to from time to time. What makes them such a trusted resource for you?
Well, so I think on our team, the leaders that we hire, um, you always want to make sure that they're doing their job of leading their teams. So in the past, I've made the mistake of leading my leaders' teams,
Mhm.
in which is not what you want to do. You hired them and they hired their people, so you don't want to step over their reach. So I've learned to kind of get out of the way, but also, I've learned from them about how to communicate with their teams because every team is different. But that's how I deal with it within my team. But outside of that, I have mentors and people that I trust that have already been down the path that I'm trying to go down. So I usually ask them for advice on how to handle certain things so that I'm not, setting a bomb that may detonate in the future unexpectedly that I
Yeah.
wasn't trying to set within my employees.
Well, I think it's great that you're a good leader, that you've got people that you can turn to as well. But those setbacks happen, right? Those days that just tech doesn't go right, things happen. What have you learned most as a leader from those moments that things just don't go to plan?
Listen, listening is the first thing, um, because it's something that even if it's something that I've dealt with before, and I may already know the answer, it's still important that your team feels heard and also understanding the logic as to why they made the decision so that maybe you can prevent that issue from coming up in the future. So learning to listen to the context around what was happening, so that not only are you providing the right advice or the right actions that they should take next, but you're building the right relationship and trust with them to be able to come to you,
Yeah.
without thinking that they're going to get fired because they made a mistake or something.
Well, and again, it's hard to be their friend and their boss at the same time. And again, it's one of those things where thankfully you've got those people that you can turn to and your team has you. But have you, in your time invested in or been a part of any groups or workshops from a coaching perspective that you got value from, or when you participate in such an event or a program, what do you seek from that coaching?
Yeah. So if I'm a part of a group, it's usually a place that I can, um, tell real stories in confidence, knowing that it's not going to be a blog post tomorrow for someone else, right? I don't want to be a part of a group like that. Um, but I'm always looking to make sure that I'm in a room full of peers, because if the room is full of people that are further ahead than me, I may be holding the group back. But if it's the room where I'm always being looked at for advice, then I'm probably not getting my needs met if I'm the smartest person in the room. So I'm always looking for a room that is diverse in experience, but also, trusting, where we know that there's confidence that anything that we share or any situation that we share is not going to end up being on TikTok the next week.
Right. Oh, gosh, we're back to TikTok again. I'm with you. But where would you say for others who are in your industry, or maybe where you go as well, where do you tend to network, to rub those elbows with others that are like-minded like you? Is it more LinkedIn? Is it networking groups, conferences?
Yeah, I mean, I think what ends up happening a lot of times is, it's probably a book or something that we've read, and then that thought leader, maybe we follow them on LinkedIn or Twitter or some other place, and then you look in the comments and you see people talking about similar things, so you build relationships that way, and other people may introduce you to groups that may work.
Mhm.
I was introduced to one of the groups that I'm a part of that by another peer that does the same thing, so that has kind of worked out. Just peer introductions or, um, thought leaders that I already know.
Well, and the thing is, you are busy. You are busy. I don't know if you ever sleep. You are, but you're a giver, and I appreciate that. But for somebody who would like to learn more about Speaker Hub or more about just how do they get to be you one day, how do you prefer that people approach you? And maybe
Yeah.
even what's the wrong way to approach you?
Well, I think the wrong way to approach me is, probing. I think probing is probably the most disrespectful thing you can do to anyone.
Mhm.
And what I mean by that is, hey, do you need this? Hey, can you do this? Hey, it's like, hey, man, just tell me what you do. If I need it, I'll let you know. But I think a lot of times people probe, and you're like, why is this person acting weird? So I prefer that if someone is going to reach out to me, just at least have thought through the conversation before you start it.
Yeah.
And then that way it makes it a lot easier so you don't come off as spammy or as a weirdo. Just kind of know what the purpose of the contact is. And I think that that works for any genuine relationship, whether it's business or personal. You don't just, you know, you don't want to feel like I'll give you a great example.
Yeah.
Um, Back in the day, there was a place called Borders Books, right?
I remember it. Yep.
And you would go to Borders or Barnes and Noble, and then you would be looking at a book, and someone would come up to you and say, man, I really like your shoes." And you're like, "All right, I know this is a multi-level marketing pitch, right?" Because it's like, dude, this isn't even, these shoes are dirty, they're old, but they just had this weak probing of trying to start an awkward conversation. And you could already smell it. You could smell the multi-level marketing or network marketing pitch about to come. And I think that LinkedIn has kind of turned into that in some ways.
Mm.
So just don't be weird. If you're going to reach out to me or anyone else.
As simple as that. Just don't be weird. I want that on a t-shirt. Ron. Now, here's the truth. As a leader, you have to pack your sense of humor. Okay. So, what have you learned as a leader? Why is humor important to have?
Because life ain't that serious. There's always somebody in on earth someplace that would trade places with you. They would love to have your problem instead of the problem that they're having. So if you can kind of take a step back and realize that it's really not that big of a deal in the long term,
Mhm.
it makes it a lot easier, and it makes it easier for people to feel comfortable around you. So I've always tried to laugh and just stay calm in most situations because at the end of the day, it's just business or customer service or sales or something. So, you know,
Our community, though, is hanging on your every word, and we are all about birthing leaders, but taking their leadership up a notch. So, what would you say as we kind of round out today? What is your leadership advice for somebody who just feels like, oh, they're going to break through that glass ceiling?
yeah. So um, I think mentoring is really important, finding people that have been there, but don't be afraid to make mistakes. And when you make a mistake, be honest about it. I think that's the best thing that self-awareness and accountability, even if it's in public, is probably the best thing that a leader could do because the better leaders smell that. They can sense whether you're self-aware and accountable to your own actions. And, they will want to help you if they know that you're self-accountable. So I would find a mentor and be more accountable to myself. I think you can always get better at that. So that's how you level up, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And really, two last questions. Do you fear anything, Ron, as a leader, spearheading such amazing missions, helping so many? Do you have a fear?
Yeah, I think everybody has fears. I mean, of
What
course.
is
I mean,
yours?
I don't know. I mean, I don't. Sometimes you don't discover them until you're in the situation. So I don't walk around with a bunch of things that I'm afraid of.
Mhm.
But I think we all get nervous at times, and that's how I define fear. Sometimes it doesn't have to be a negative thing for me to be afraid. Sometimes I'm afraid of the actions I need to take to get to my goals or the amount of action. Sometimes I'm afraid of the investments that I need to make in order to take the company to the next level. I'm always afraid of the conversations I have to make, especially if it's a difficult time within the company. You're afraid of those tough conversations you have to have. And so I don't think we walk around with a bag of fears. I think we walk around with fears that we always are fighting to overcome when they arrive.
I love that. And to kind of round out today, what are you the most proud of when you think of this long legacy that you're building and where that goes into the future? But what are you the most proud of at this point?
So I love to see our clients and our employees grow, right? When you see someone struggling with something, whether it's an employee or a client, and your employees are your clients also as the entrepreneur. It's kind of like two sides of the same coin. When you see them grow and mature and take the next step, it's the proudest thing you could ever have, because you know it was that you had something to do with it, and it's beyond you. Me by myself, I can help a limited number of people, but if I can help 100 clients help more people, that just extended my reach. So that's really what I'm most proud about.
Oh, see, I love that. And that is so signature you. So I just encourage everyone to check out more of Ron Story Jr. You're from SpeakerHub. You're just amazing. And for everybody, tuning in today, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us at leadershipthatinspires@gmail.com. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, just like Ron, we'd love to hear from you. Make sure you let us know your story, your contact information, and what you've learned in your career path. So thank you so much for tuning in today, and we are all wishing you the best. Take care.